Hello everyone, it's Lisa Turner here from Psycademy, and today I want to share with you an idea that we've been talking about in our initiates group about conflict and about, is conflict and tension always bad? So one of the questions that was asked of my guides and the spheres and beyond was like, I'm in there's a lot of conflict, a lot of tension at work. How do I handle that? So, and if you have any questions or comments, pop them in the little comments box. And if you're listening to the replay, don't worry, I will come back and answer them, even if it's later. So, hello. So, conflict. What do you do if you're in a conflict situation? If it's in your workplace, if it's in your family, what does it mean? And is the best thing to do always the best thing to do to try and create peace? So, one of the really interesting messages that came from my guides was this idea that conflict isn't necessarily a bad thing, that conflict and tension are natural. And it's only when they are taken to extremes or when they're used in ways that aren't constructive. So conflict and tension can be really, really constructive. So one of the ways to think about it is this. If you wanted to fire an arrow, the bow and arrow thing, right? You would pull the bow back. You would pull the string back. There's huge tension in the bow and the arrow. And I did archery when I was a kid, and I wasn't very good at it, I have to say. There was a lot of, nearly killing the dog. No animals were harmed during the failure of Lisa to be an archer. But there was this huge tension, and you have these strong bows, and the only way the arrow will go anywhere is if there's tension that's then released. So that's one area, like one concept of like tension is just part of the growth process. And this idea that if we had just total peace and harmony all the time, what we actually have is stagnation. And so what my guide said was that conflict is natural, tension is natural, and both can be used constructively. So one of the ways that you can use tension, like a metaphor for constructive tension, is this. When you go to your yoga class and your brilliant yoga teacher encourages you to sit deeper into a pose where there's tension, your muscle is being stretched, your body is being contorted in a way that it's probably never been, like my favorite pigeon pose, not my favorite pigeon pose. I'm getting better at it actually, because I continually sit into the pose, breathe into it. I think my hips get really tight with all my cycling. So I do a lot of pigeon pose, and it's, sit into the pose, breathe deeply. So you're under that tension. It's not comfortable, but that discomfort is actually part of your growth, so that next time it feels, next time you can go even further, you can go even deeper. So the first thing to think about with the idea of tension is think about tension as not necessarily being something that's bad, that it's just part of your growth. And that in certain areas, it's actually really constructive to put yourself in a place of tension where you can then release it. So, for example, in my business, in my life, I regularly do things that will cause me to feel very busy. And, there's a lot going on. Like right now in my business, we've got huge numbers of people wanting to join our spiritual practitioner training. And as a result of that, we're, reading lots of applications, having lots of interviews. And so it feels like there's tension. But then come Christmas, I'll be sitting there watching lots of Christmas movies. That's my guilty pleasure, is Christmas movies. So then there's the release. So, and that creates growth. So tension has a purpose. And also the idea is that we put ourselves under tension, under stress, constructively in a way that's not totally out of control, so that we can create something. The other, so giving yourself little deadlines and giving yourself that little bit of a push and then releasing it. So that's when you come out of the yoga pose. Also think about the idea of when you go to the gym and, you deliberately stress your muscles to the point where they are overstressed, so they break down so that they can grow stronger. That is how we are meant to be physiologically. That's also how we are designed to be neurologically, that will put ourselves in these positions of tension to the point of breakdown, and then we rebuild ourselves anew and stronger and better and faster and bigger. So then let's come to the idea of conflict. So what do you do if you're in this place of conflict? So my guide said this really great thing about conflict, which I'm going to just share with you. So yeah, conflict and tension, it's about birth. It's about birth. So when you think about one of the most stressful conflict situations that you could be, you know, like kind of tension situations, is the whole idea of giving birth to a child. So when you give birth to when a woman gives birth to a child, the uterus contracts hugely and then it relaxes. And there are these things, you know, incredibly intense contractions, and the purpose is to give birth. So when you're in a situation where there's a lot of conflict, the thing to do is to, first of all, ask yourself, what is attempting to be born here? And it may be something that seems to be completely different to what you thought was supposed to be going on in a situation. And the other thing to do is, like, sometimes when there's tension, so tension is because somebody has a desire that they haven't expressed and that isn't being met. So one of the ways you can deal with conflict is to be the midwife to birthing what is present for people, so that oh, Monica's joined. Hi, Monica. It's so lovely to see you here, Monica. I completely lost my train of thought. Right, birth, conflict, right. So to be the midwife of whatever it is that's being born. And it might be a new level of understanding, a new level of awareness. It might be a whole new level of cohesion in the team. And it might be something else that the whole team is trying to create. And in that place of conflict, so be the midwife. So ask yourself, what's being born here? Now, you may not get an answer, but just asking it and being aware to what is trying to birth itself, what is attempting to be birthed here. So to be the midwife to that. And one of the other suggestions, so recently I was in a workshop where one of my delegates, beautiful, amazing woman, and she may be listening to this and she knows how much I love her. I love you so much. I'm not going to name your name, but you know how much I love you and you'll know who you are. So she was experiencing a lot of conflict and tension in her life. And she was kind of wanting to, you know, like express that, I guess. And so she had a little bit of a temper tantrum, and she had it right at me, like really properly shouting and screaming and crying and ranting and raving at me. And I just went into this space of, like, I just knew this wasn't about me. And yeah, you know, I know I'm not perfect and I'm happy to take feedback, but this wasn't, you know, I didn't get any real sense. This was about her needing a safe space where she knew I would still love her no matter what she did or said, so that she could have that place to just express all of her frustration and rage at me, at the world, at the program, at, you know, whatever, the hotel we were in, everything. She just needed to be permitted to feel that. And I just want to bring this into awareness about, there is a difference between feeling an emotion and allowing yourself to feel it, and then it flows through, and expressing and releasing. So sometimes expressing an emotion will release it, and sometimes it won't. Sometimes it can ingrain it. This situation, I knew she just needed to be in a safe place where she could allow herself to feel what it was she was feeling. So in that conflict place that you might be in, it may be that you are the perfect person to create that safe space, to be the midwife where someone can just feel whatever it is they're feeling, whether it's rage, whether it's frustration, anger, hurt or sadness or loss or whatever it is, to just feel it, knowing that you don't judge them for feeling it. And there's not going to be, oh, calm down, it's all right, you know, just let's be happy, let's all pretend to be happy, because that will serve no one. And in fact, nothing annoys me more when there's this constant belief that, oh, we all need to just feel the love and oh, be happy, everyone be happy, go be happy, you be happy. And it's like, what if you're just not? In that moment, you're pissed off, you're fed up, you're sad, you're grumpy, whatever it is. Create the space where anyone that has those emotions that they need to feel, where they can just feel them. That's all you need to do. Because and this also comes into a point, and if you're on my newsletter list, you'll get a newsletter this weekend about how to deal with negative situations. Because the first step is, don't become part of the problem. If somebody near you is having a negative response to something and your reaction is to want them to be positive and be upset or negative because they're negative. You have become part of the problem. And there isn't any, like, there's no problem with having a negative emotion other than not being allowed to feel it and allow it to flow through. The purpose of emotions is to give us guidance and feedback. And there's really two levels of emotions, negative emotions. So there's negative emotions from the past, which are kind of there. So if you have a memory from the past, which as you think about it now triggers a negative emotion, that's a negative emotion from the past. You want to release that. Higher self therapy, our emotional release process, that's what you want to get hold of. If you're in the moment now having a negative emotion, it could be that you're just stretching yourself. Be present to that. Allow yourself to feel it and stretch anyway. And it could be that there's something that you are being presented with that's a situation in your life that you need or might want to change so that it serves you, your life situation serves you to a greater level. And to just deny that emotion denies that whole possibility for growth, right? Doesn't it? So that's an emotion from the present. That's a good emotion. That says, you know what? I don't like being hit over the head with a wet fish. I might say, you know what? Can you just stop it with the fish? I'm not happy about the fish thing. If you could just have a little bit, no fish, thanks. Right? That's okay. That's just you going, I'm not happy about that. And saying, expressing your truth and asking for the world to be different and creating it. Oh, I'm liking the like button. Somebody's liking that. Yeah, so if you like what I've said, does this resonate with you? Click the little likey thing. That would be good. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're watching this later, I'm happy to pop back if you have any questions about conflict. So not all conflict is bad and not all conflict is good. There is definitely destructive conflict where it is just in the process of destroying something. And I could say so much more about that, but that's at another level. So if I have any questions, let me have a look. Alexandra, hello. I am very, very well today. Thank you. I'm very well. Can you give me a reading? Now, darling. So first of all, I will do a slot. I do regular no one guide calls and sessions where I invoke my guides. But I'm not doing that today, my darling. So if, just notice, and I'll give you a little notification. I'll say I'm going to be doing a no one guide channeling call or Facebook Live where I'm going to invoke my guides, and you'll need to ask me a question, but I'm not doing that today. Today we're talking about conflict. Okay, my love, and I love you still. You know that. So any other questions? Any other comments? Did you like this? Oh, Corey says, yes, that's what I've been telling my students all week. This has been a challenging month. Yeah, and people have this idea sometimes, and I'm great that you say this, Connie, this idea that challenge is bad. And, you know, I see people, like, they run these coaching programs, and it's all about just finding peace. And it's like, yeah, I do totally get, like, we need to give ourselves space and time for peace. That's what I'm going to be doing over Christmas. I have a lot of lovely relaxation, connection time with my lovely, lovely family so that I can come back. You know, January is a really busy time for us. So, you know, it's like this relax, tension, relax. And it's kind of like, you know, these are like the contractions of giving birth. Challenge isn't bad. Challenge stretches us. That's how we grow. Awesome. Corey says, yeah, totally. Yeah. Leslie, hello, my darling. I quite enjoy my negative moods, although they're rare. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes, let's face it, we all like a bit of a moan sometimes. And I think, so we, you know, on my team meetings, I say, sometimes when I get a bit frustrated with something, I say, okay, I need a 5-minute rant. And I'll do that. And I'll just go, and they said this, and then they did this, and then I can't believe it. Rah! And then I go, okay, I'm done. And it's just like, it's just my little rant. And I thoroughly enjoy it. But don't get stuck in it. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I think enjoying your negative moods. How ironic is that? Yeah. Just be present to it, that you enjoy it. Awesome. I love it. Fab. Alrighty, my darlings. So any other questions? Any other comments? Click the like button. And if you have any ideas for a future Facebook Live, let me know and I will consider it and I'll put it on the list. This was one that came up a good few weeks ago, and it was present in our call, call for our initiation program today. So yeah, a lot of people have asked questions about the spiritual practitioner program. It's on our website. If you're interested in that, yes, we are still open for entries. It's not too late, but it will be soon. Don't want you to miss out. All right, my darlings. So till next time, we'll be doing one on, I think, Thursday. Thursday we'll have another live about this time-ish. Another live about this time. See you then. Lots of love. Bye. I found the stop button now. Here it is down here.